Hello everyone, and welcome back to Whispers of Turkish Stars. I'm genuinely thrilled you're here because today's topic has been spinning in my head since the moment I heard it. We live for stories that tug at the heart, carry a trace of mystery, and remind us why we care about these people beyond the headlines. And this one begins with a single, haunting line: Alina's grandmother cried. What did she ask Alp? The moment you hear it, you feel the air change. You sense a doorway opening into something deeply human, something that doesn't belong to red carpets or glossy magazine covers, but to kitchens scented with tea, old photographs tucked in drawers, and the fragile truth of family ties. Before we let our imaginations run, make sure you're subscribed and your notifications are on, because we love diving into the tender spaces where celebrity and real life collide. Now, back to that line. Alina's grandmother cried. What did she ask Alp? It sounds like a riddle, but it's really a feeling. The tears tell us this isn't a casual chat. The question, whoever it's aimed at, must carry a lifetime. And when the person standing across from her is Alp, calm gaze, careful words, a man whose public persona hints at protectiveness, you can almost see the moment unfold. A quiet living room. A shawl folded neatly on the arm of a chair. The TV muted. A clock ticking as if to remind everyone that time, no matter how softly we hold it, keeps pressing forward. Picture her face, years etched in fine lines, stories lived and survived, all of them gathering behind her eyes. She looks to Alp not as a star, not even as a public boyfriend, but as the man who shows up on ordinary days. In that instant, the question cannot be light. It has to be the kind of question that asks for an answer made of promises, patience, and the weight of love. Maybe it's about the road they've been walking, maybe it's about the road ahead. What if it begins with health, the most human of fragilities? Perhaps Alina's grandmother has been unwell, nothing dramatic for the cameras, just the slow relentlessness of age. She might touch Alp's hand and ask him if he will stay steady when nights are long and work demands pull him far. Will he keep Alina's heart safe when the spotlight burns too hot? Will he be the gentle voice that reminds her she's more than the role she plays in the pictures people take? The tears here could be the soft, salty echo of a lifetime of care condensed into a single plea: do not let her face this world alone. Or maybe it isn't illness at all. Maybe it's fear for choices that change everything. Alina, known for grace and quiet strength, is still human beneath the polish. What if the grandmother has seen a hesitancy, a crossroads approaching? She might ask Alp whether he's honest with Alina about dreams and doubts. Whether he speaks up when silence would be simpler. Whether he'll help her carry the heaviest truths. The trembling voice of a grandmother is not a judge's gavel, it's a compass. When she asks, her words are a hand on the shoulder, guiding rather than pushing. Another path, gratitude so deep it spills over. Imagine Alp doing something no one else knows about. Visits when cameras aren't around, quiet gestures that heal a worry, a late-night drive to pick up medicine, a promise kept when nobody was watching. Tears of gratitude have their own shimmer. In that glow, the question might be simple, and yet enormous: how can I thank you for the way you love her? Or even, how do you find the strength to keep showing up? Because sometimes the person who asks a question is also asking to borrow a little courage. Perhaps she sees in Alp a steadiness she wants to learn, a way of holding the storm that she hopes Alina will lean on. There's also the inheritance that isn't about property or signatures, it's about memory. Turkish families know this well: stories are heirlooms. A recipe recited by heart, a song hummed while kneading dough, a ring that slips from one finger to the next like a promise passing through time. Maybe Alina's grandmother, with those soft tears, is asking Alp to guard a legacy. Promise me you'll remind her of where we come from. Promise me you'll keep the old stories alive. Maybe there is a box in a wardrobe with letters from a summer long ago, or a scarf given on a wedding day. She could be asking him to carry something symbolic, not because he needs it, but because what it represents should be held by hands that will honor it. The question then becomes a key to an invisible chest: will you keep what matters safe? But secrets travel alongside love, and families keep them like folded papers in the back of a drawer. What if the tears came because she was ready to speak a truth held too long? Before revealing it, she might ask Alp, are you prepared to hear something that will change how you see us? Or, will you forgive what was kept quiet? Perhaps there is a thread in Alina's family history that would explain a silence, a lost photograph, a name never spoken. In this version, the question isn't just about the future, it's a threshold to the past. And Alp, steady as ever, is the one she turns to because she believes he won't run from what is difficult. Consider, too, the many versions of what Alina and Alp are to each other in the public eye. Are they just colleagues who became something more? Are they two private hearts navigating a public maze? If they are a couple, something countless fans whisper, analyze, celebrate. Then her question might be as raw as, can you promise me you'll build a home, not just a headline? If they're lifelong friends first, then maybe the grandmother sees that this friendship is the anchor. She could ask him to protect that bond, even if life grows complicated. The shape of the question shifts with the shape of their relationship, but the note is always the same: do not break what is precious. We can't ignore another possibility, that the tears are for Alp himself. What if she sees him, beyond all the surface, as a man carrying his own weight? A grandmother's tenderness often extends to anyone within reach of her kindness. Maybe she watched him put everyone else first. Maybe she noticed how he listens more than he speaks, how he absorbs tension so others don't have to. Her question could be the simplest, most intimate charity: Alp, how are you really? Or, where do you find your strength when you're tired? Because sometimes the bravest question is the one that invites someone to be human. And in giving him room to exhale, she's also protecting Alina, ensuring that the love in her life isn't built on someone pretending to be invincible. This is what makes that line so potent. Alina's grandmother cried. What did she ask Alp? It's a blank screen waiting for our hearts to project their own truths. We imagine a cozy room, tea cooling in its glass, and this question hovering in the air like a fragile lamp. Did she ask him to marry her granddaughter one day when they both are ready? Did she ask him to make sure Alina never forgets to rest, to laugh, to visit on Sundays? Did she ask him to forgive an old hurt he didn't even know he was holding? Every possibility is a mirror for us. We see the stories we know. Farewells and beginnings, gratitude and fear, the certainty that love is both anchor and sail. Spend a moment with the idea of a final wish. If time is short, the last thing you ask must be the truest thing you want. Perhaps she doesn't demand anything complicated. Maybe she simply says, promise me you will be kind to each other even when you disagree. That alone can draw tears, because kindness is the hardest promise to keep when the world gets loud. Or perhaps she gives him a task. Make sure she remembers her own light on the days when others try to dim it. These aren't grand gestures, they are the quiet, daily acts that build a life. On the other hand, what if Alina is poised at a turning point, career opportunities that ask for sacrifices, scripts that require distance, projects that pull her from home? In that case, the question could be less about romance and more about partnership. Will you stand beside her when ambition is misunderstood? Will you remind her that it's okay to take up space? Will you be the one who tells her she doesn't have to choose between love and purpose? A grandmother knows that dreams are delicate, and the person standing next to you can be the difference between blooming and breaking. And let's entertain the possibility that the tears are born from pure, aching nostalgia. Maybe the grandmother saw in Alp a resemblance to someone from long ago, a steadfast look, a gentle humor. And her question, threaded with memory, slipped out almost involuntarily. She could have asked, do you know how much you already feel like family? Tears then are just old stories finding new homes. Of course, secrets remain the most cinematic version of this tale. Imagine her reaching for his hand, asking for patience as she explains a hidden branch on the family tree or an old disagreement that hardened into silence. Are you willing to help us heal what we never fixed? That's the kind of question that changes a room. When an elder admits to imperfection, it can shatter the pedestal and strengthen the bond in one breath. Alp's answer matters because it isn't just about him and Alina, it's about the web of people surrounding them, all the invisible threads that need careful mending. There is also the scenario of trust earned through stormy weather. Perhaps Alina had a difficult week, a cruel rumor, an exhausting schedule, a misunderstanding with the press. If Alp stood between that noise and her peace, the grandmother's tears could be gratitude and relief. In that version, the question is almost a blessing disguised as curiosity. how did you learn to be this gentle? She might not be seeking an explanation, just speaking aloud what everyone in the room has felt, that gentleness is a form of strength. What makes this story so gripping is that it invites us to pause. In a world that moves too fast, the image of an elder's tears slows us down. We remember that the glamour is a thin layer laid over very ordinary, very sacred things. A bowl of soup. A cardigan draped over shoulders. A hand that still knows how to comfort. And at the center, a single question given to Alp like a delicate package. He is asked to hold it, guard it, answer it, not because the world is watching, but because one woman who has seen so much believes he is the right person to receive it. So we return, one more time, to that line that won't let go. Alina's grandmother cried. What did she ask Alp? Was it a plea, a promise, a forgiveness, a farewell? A thread of hope or a stitch of closure? There is no wrong answer here, only the profound reminder that behind the scenes of every loved couple are the elders who shape them, who worry for them, who love them in ways that feel like prayer. If the question was about love, it asked for love to last. If it was about truth, it asked for truth to be brave. If it was about legacy, it asked for the past to be cherished as the future unfolds. We've explored illness and gratitude, secrets and blessings, promises made and promises kept. We've imagined rooms lit softly by afternoon sun and words spoken so carefully they sound like silk. We've seen Alp not as a headline, but as a man, Alina not as a role, but as a granddaughter. And we've remembered that tears, especially those of a grandmother, are rarely just sadness. They are concentration. All the love, all the fear, all the remembering and releasing, pressed into a shimmering drop that says more than 1,000 speeches. As we reach the end of this shared wondering, I want to hear from you. What do you think she asked? What do you feel moved by in this picture? A brave confession, a blessing for the future, a request to protect something fragile and priceless? Tell me your take in the comments. Your theories, your questions, your heart. And if you felt the pull of this story. If it made you think of your own family or the promises that have shaped your life, tap like, share this with someone who loves a good, tender mystery, and make sure you're subscribed to Whispers of Turkish Stars so you don't miss what comes next. Until then, keep the tea warm, keep your words kind, and remember, a single question, asked with love, can change everything.